Discover the hidden secret of hyssop. Why was it chosen for biblical purification rituals? Because the Bible does not say use any plant, it specifically says hyssop. That was not random and not merely symbolic. It was intentional. In the ancient world, biblical plants were not chosen only for ritual, but for what they actually did. And hyssop has real properties: antibacterial, antimicrobial, respiratory supporting, and naturally cleansing effects. That means when ancient texts describe purification with hyssop, they may be describing a real and physical act of cleansing. That changes everything. Suddenly, these rituals are not only spiritual acts, they are practical systems designed to protect the body while also representing something deeper. In this video, we will break down why hyssop appears so often in the Bible and the real science behind its cleansing properties. Subscribe, because once you understand hyssop, you will not just see a plant, you will see a system. If hyssop were truly important, it should appear in key moments, and it does. Again and again, across different books, contexts, and kinds of rituals. That tells us something immediately. Hyssop was not incidental, it was standard. One of the best-known references appears during Passover. Hyssop is used to apply the lamb's blood to the doorposts, a moment described in terms of protection, separation, and the preservation of life. That act of applying liquid with a plant was a functional tool, absorbent, structured, and practical. Now move forward to Leviticus. Hyssop appears in purification rituals, especially those involving disease or contamination. It is used in cleansing processes for people recovering from skin conditions, in water mixtures, and in repeated ceremonial actions. The pattern continues, not just any plant, but hyssop. Then, in Psalms, it appears again. "Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean." That line is often interpreted spiritually, but the reference remains specific. Hyssop consistently points to cleansing. During the crucifixion, a sponge soaked in vinegar is lifted to Jesus using a branch of hyssop. Out of all possible materials, hyssop is chosen. That reinforces its established association with cleansing, purification, and preparation. This consistency across different contexts, ritual, health, and historical events, suggests that hyssop had a recognized role, a known function. When ancient readers saw the word hyssop, they did not think only of a plant, but of a process, a system, a method of cleansing. This was not just a coincidence. If hyssop was used so consistently, there had to be a reason, and that is what we need to understand next. To understand why hyssop was used in biblical purification rituals, we need to look at the plant itself. Hyssop is not only symbolic, it is functional. Modern research confirms its antibacterial and antimicrobial properties, crucial for hygiene where sanitation was limited, reducing infections, a major threat in the ancient world. Hyssop was used to dip, sprinkle, and apply, a practical delivery system. Its branches are absorbent, flexible, and easy to use, almost like a natural brush, ideal for spreading cleansing solutions over surfaces or skin. Beyond cleansing, hyssop offers respiratory support, clearing the airways and reducing congestion, which helped maintain air quality in enclosed spaces. Traditionally, it also supports digestion, reducing bloating and promoting gut balance. By combining these benefits, hyssop truly cleaned, supported the body, and improved conditions. Biblical purification was likely both symbolic and physical. If something worked physically, it was naturally integrated into ritual. This shows that ancient practices were grounded in function, and hyssop was a key tool. Although we often think of biblical purification as something spiritual, the ancient world had a very real physical layer as well. It meant removing contamination, reducing disease, and protecting the body from what could not be seen but was certainly felt. Given ancient living conditions, with no running water systems or disinfectants, people still understood that contact spread disease. Purification rituals were therefore health systems, practical methods for restoring balance in the body, the environment, and the community. These rituals involved water, specific materials, repeated actions, periods of isolation, and plants like hyssop. Purification was a controlled process designed to reduce risk, not a random ceremony. By framing these actions as spiritual requirements, the culture ensured consistent adherence, turning the sacred into routine and culture. Purification was about behavior, aligning physical health with spiritual meaning. It worked on multiple levels, benefiting both individuals and the community. Today, we often see only the symbolic half, but underneath there was a clear practical function, with hyssop at its center. Despite other available options, hyssop appears consistently in biblical cleansing rituals, suggesting intentional selection. Hyssop solved multiple problems at the same time. First, its structure. Small, flexible, dense branches hold liquid, making it an ideal applicator for distributing cleansing mixtures. Second, its availability. Hyssop grows reliably in the region, allowing consistent use across communities. Third, its properties. Hyssop's natural antibacterial and antimicrobial effects actively support cleansing. Fourth, recognition. Over time, hyssop became associated with purification, so its presence immediately signaled its purpose, a powerful visual marker of cleansing. By combining function, availability, effectiveness, and recognition, hyssop was the perfect practical tool, not merely a symbol. Systems that work get repeated, becoming tradition and meaning, but function endures. Hyssop was not chosen at random. It worked, and that is why it became part of the system. What does all of this mean today? Hyssop still exists, and its properties have not changed. What has changed is our interpretation. Today, people think of biblical hyssop as symbolism, but we have seen that it was also functional, with real physical effects. The ancients were not merely performing rituals. They were applying knowledge of plants and the body to create systems that supported both health and meaning. Over time, that functional knowledge was simplified. The function faded, and the symbolism remained, leaving us with only half the system. But when we reconnect both sides, symbol and function, the text changes. It becomes more practical and more real. Now you do not just read about purification, you understand how it worked. How much knowledge is still hidden this way in simple references and repeated patterns. So the next time you see hyssop mentioned, do not think of it only as a symbol. Think of it as a tool, because that is what it was, and perhaps it still is.